3 days ago, I received this scooter, which I bought on eBay for 280 Australian dollars. That's about 200 US dollars equivalent. And I've seen these on Amazon selling from around 150 US dollars. I'll put a couple of links in the description so you can check them out. Now, I didn't expect much for 280 Australian dollars, but I was pleasantly surprised. The first thing I did was take it out the back in a park to see, can it go on grass? Will it be powerful enough? And to my surprise, it actually powered through the grass, no problem. In fact, I was surprised at just how quickly it could go. And that was in lowest power mode, which is the eco mode. I connected the app and I found there's 3 modes: eco mode, drive mode, and sports mode. And you can set the maximum speed for each mode. So for the eco mode, I set it to 15 k's an hour because I don't really want to go really fast when I'm just cruising around locally. The drive mode, I set that to 20. You can have it all the way up to 30 k's an hour. And sports mode, you can go up to 40 k's an hour. Now, I'm never probably going to go that fast. First of all, I don't go around with helmet, shoes, or protective wear. I just go around barefoot, no helmet, just locally. If I want to go down and look at the conditions for the surf, then I'll grab the scooter and I might do that. And I actually did that. I went down to the local beach and rode along the footpath where there are pedestrians. So for me, it was important to make sure I didn't hit any pedestrians. And this scooter, one of the things I love about it is really quiet. So you're not intruding on people's privacy as you're driving. In fact, some people didn't even know I was coming up behind them and I had to ring the bell.
Here goes Ben having a look at this one. Utilising priority, nice first turn there, racing for a second, floats it up for a second, 9 minutes 25 to go, so wait for that score to come through.
Another important thing for me was to ensure that it could go up hills. At the end of my ride, there was quite a steep hill and I wasn't sure if it could make it, but it did. And it was in economy mode. It managed to get up that hill. The hill was fairly steep, so yeah, quite impressed. Overall, I really am impressed with this scooter. I can't find much fault with it. I can't find anything wrong with it. The only thing that bugs me is, will it burn my house down when it's charging? Because it uses a battery that is known to catch a light when you're charging it. In fact, I know of somebody locally that's had their house burned down. So I've had to open it up and have a look at it and see what's under the hood and then come up with a way that I can charge it without the risk of it lighting up my whole place. One other thing before I open this up is that there's a feature in here that I absolutely love, and that is cruise control. Anyway, you've got to have the app for that. Once you switch it on and you're riding at a certain speed, cruise control will kick in, and then you can just take your hands or take your thumb off the accelerator switch and just cruise at the speed that you set. I love it because it just makes it so cruisy. It just allows me to relax, look at the waves, look at the babes, and just cruise basically. So yeah, love the scooter. Let's have a look under the hood. All right, well, I've taken off the bottom cover. Here it is. It's got a bit of a rubber, foamy kind of seal all the way around, so it may prevent some water from getting inside, but I'm probably not going to take the risk of riding this in rain conditions if I can avoid it. The battery itself is quite large, 7.8 amp hour as they specified in the ad. However, the controller doesn't quite meet the peak specifications of 900 watt. The controller, based on the specifications, can only do up to about 600 watt. So that's 600 watt peak power. The motor itself is actually rated at 250 watt, it says on the hub. So, you know, what it means, I don't know, but for me, it's still able to climb those hills, so that's good enough. In terms of the battery capacity, it's good enough as well, because I was able to ride for kilometres and kilometres and I only used up 1 or 2 bars of the battery. Now, this says it's rated at 50 kilometres total. I don't know how realistic that is, maybe 20. I might do another video where I'll actually use up the full battery from full to empty and see how many kilometres I would do. All right, next, let's talk about the safety of the battery exploding. These batteries can explode and they produce their own gas, flammable gases like oxygen and stuff. Therefore, having a plastic lid, well, 2 things about that. If it does explode, it'll basically blow the lid off, burn the lid off, and the fire is going to be directed downward. So if I've got it sitting somewhere, I probably want it facing the ground. But if it was metal and the gases build up, there could be a chance of it exploding. So I really don't know exactly how they mitigate against that kind of issue. They'd have to have vent holes in the metal to allow the gases to escape if it was to be completely metal. Now, being plastic, there is a chance that this can burn down my house. And for the safety, I recommend, or this is what I'm going to do, is have a metal box into which I place this for it to be charged. And I'll put a link in the description to one that you can get on Amazon to the size of this scooter, so you could put it inside. For me, I've got a shed out the back. It's metal. It's a tool shed. If it burns down, some of the tools might burn down. I've got nothing special in there, but at least the fire will be contained to the shed. So, metal box, put it in, and that's how you prevent it. Prevent your house from burning down. I know somebody that's had their house burned down because of a cheap scooter. And I really don't want that to happen to me. Okay, so final thoughts so far in these last few days that I've been riding it is I like it. I don't see anything wrong with it. In fact, the fact that it's so light, it's just 12 kilograms or 26 pounds roughly, it means I could just take it upstairs. I could take it to different places. If there's a really steep hill, I could take it up hill, no problem. So that's impressive in terms of the weight. I could drop it in my car. I found a spot in my van where it just sits there nicely. I strap it in and I can take, wherever I go, I've got it with me, so I can go off on a track and explore some areas. In terms of power, it is plenty powerful. It takes me up most of the steepest hills that I could find around here. So plenty of power, even though the motor itself is only 250 watt, apparently, according to the hub. Perhaps the peak power is 900, but the controller does limit it at about 600 watt peak power. But me weighing 160 pounds or 70 kilograms, this is powerful enough to get me around pretty much everywhere, even on off-road, like as long as the road is solid, not like sandy road. And the range of this thing, well, so far I've ridden this for kilometers, and I've only used up like 2 notches on the battery indicator. So yeah, I'm not going to run out of range with this battery. I don't think so. The claim is 50 kilometers. I don't think it's going to do 50 kilometers, but I might actually try and see how many kilometers over a number of days that I do until the battery goes all the way to flat, and then be able to do another review in a few days, perhaps in a few weeks, to give you an update on the scooter. So my final thoughts are, it's a great scooter. I was wrong to think that cheap is bad. It's not necessarily so. These guys are in mass production with these things, and that's why they're able to keep the costs really low, keep the price really low. As far as fire risk is concerned, just need to contain it somehow. A metal container is probably what you need. In my case, the shed works really well. So yeah, great scooter.